Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they're not smart enough. They fail because at some point they chose comfort over courage. And comfort feels good in the moment. Comfort whispers, stay where you are. You're safe here. But courage demands something more. Courage asks you to step forward when every instinct tells you to stay still. Let me ask you something personal. How many dreams have you talked yourself out of because it felt uncomfortable? How many times did you know what you needed to do and didn't do it because it was scary, because it was uncertain, because it meant risking rejection, failure, or pain? Comfort is seductive. It gives you routine, excuses, familiarity. It tells you you can do it tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into next year, and next year turns into regret. Courage, on the other hand, doesn't promise safety. It doesn't promise applause. It doesn't even promise success. But courage promises growth. And growth is where life actually happens. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your comfort zone is perfectly designed to keep you exactly where you are. Not happier, not stronger, just familiar. And familiarity feels like security, but it's an illusion. Because nothing kills the human spirit faster than knowing you were capable of more and settling for less. Every breakthrough in your life came from a moment of courage. Every meaningful relationship, every achievement, every transformation, you didn't find it while hiding. You found it when you leaned in, when your heart was pounding, when your hands were shaking, when you moved anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is deciding that something else matters more than fear. Your future matters more. Your standards matter more. The life you know you're meant to live matters more. Comfort keeps you quiet. Courage gives you a voice. Comfort keeps you small. Courage expands who you are. Comfort asks, what if it doesn't work? Courage asks, what if this is the moment everything changes? And listen, growth is never convenient. Transformation is never cozy. If you're waiting for confidence before you act, you'll be waiting forever. Confidence is built after you take the courageous step, not before. You don't become strong and then lift the weight. You lift the weight, and that's how you become strong. Most people want certainty before they move. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get a guarantee, you get a choice. A choice between the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. And regret weighs far heavier over time. Courage beats comfort every time because comfort asks you to protect who you are today, while courage challenges you to become who you could be tomorrow. Think about it. When you look back on your life years from now, you will not regret the moments you were uncomfortable. You will regret the chances you didn't take, the words you didn't speak, the moves you didn't make because you were afraid of what people might think. Your life changes the moment you raise your standards and say, I'm no longer willing to live below my potential. That decision takes courage. Saying no takes courage. Starting over takes courage. Walking away takes courage. Standing alone takes courage. But every time you choose courage, you send a message to yourself, I can be trusted. I will show up. I am not governed by fear. And that identity, that belief, changes everything. Comfort may keep you alive, but courage makes you feel alive. Comfort keeps the body relaxed, but courage awakens the soul. And deep down, you don't want an easy life. You want a meaningful one. You want to feel proud of the person you see in the mirror. So the next time you feel that tension in your chest, that hesitation, that moment where you know you're standing at a crossroads, don't run from it. That feeling is not a warning. It's an invitation to grow, an invitation to rise. Choose the hard conversation. Choose the bold move. Choose the path that demands more from you, because comfort will cost you your dreams, but courage will give you your life. Most people are unconsciously loyal to the version of life they already know. They wake up each day and repeat patterns, not because those patterns are powerful, but because they're familiar. Comfort preserves the present. It keeps things predictable. It keeps the lights on, the routine intact, the story the same. And there's nothing wrong with wanting stability, but when comfort becomes your highest value, Growth becomes your greatest threat. The present version of your life is the result of past decisions. Every habit you tolerate, every standard you accept, every fear you obey has quietly shaped where you are right now. Comfort says, don't disrupt this. Courage says, this isn't where it ends. And that difference changes everything, because the future is not built by protecting what already exists. The future is created by challenging it. Comfort wants certainty. It wants guarantees. It wants proof before action. Courage understands something deeper. Proof comes after commitment. You don't feel ready and then move. You move, and readiness is forged in the process. The present you is designed to survive. The future you is designed to thrive. And thriving always requires leaving something behind. Every meaningful future demands a temporary discomfort in the present. A difficult conversation, a bold decision, a leap without full clarity. Comfort resists that moment. It tells you to wait, to delay, to gather more information, to stay quiet, to play small just a little longer. And a little longer turns into years. Years turn into a life that feels safe but incomplete. Courage creates the future because courage changes your identity. The moment you act despite fear, you shift how you see yourself. You're no longer someone who waits. You're someone who leads. You're no longer someone who reacts. You're someone who chooses. And identity is destiny. Who you believe you are determines what you attempt, what you tolerate, what you walk away from, what you fight for. The future doesn't respond to comfort. The future responds to boldness, to standards, to decisions made when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Comfort asks, what if I lose? Courage asks, what if I grow? Comfort measures risk in terms of safety. Courage measures risk in terms of potential. And the greatest risk of all is staying the same while time keeps moving. Look at any breakthrough you admire, any leader you respect, any transformation that inspires you. None of it was born from comfort. It was born from someone being willing to be misunderstood, to fail publicly, to feel uncertain, to stretch beyond what felt natural. The future rewards those who are willing to look foolish in the present. Comfort preserves habits. Courage creates momentum. Comfort keeps you managing your life. Courage moves you into designing it. Managing is about maintenance. Designing is about vision. And vision demands courage because it forces you to confront the gap between where you are and where you know you could be. The present feels powerful because it's familiar. But familiarity is not power. Power comes from alignment, from living in integrity with what you know you're capable of. Every time you choose comfort over courage, that alignment weakens. You feel it as frustration, as restlessness, as a quiet dissatisfaction you can't quite explain. The future is calling for a stronger version of you, not a perfect one, a braver one who is willing to trade short-term ease for long-term fulfillment, one who understands that discomfort is not a signal to stop, but a signal that growth is happening. Muscles burn when they're strengthening. Identity burns when it's evolving. Comfort says, protect your image. Courage says, build your character. Comfort asks you to fit in. Courage asks you to stand out. Comfort keeps you acceptable. Courage makes you unstoppable. And every time you choose courage, even in the smallest way, you create evidence that the future can be different from the past. The future doesn't arrive on its own. It's constructed decision by decision, moment by moment. What you say yes to, what you say no to, what you tolerate, what you challenge. Comfort preserves what already exists. Courage creates what has never existed before. And when you finally realize that staying comfortable costs more than taking the risk, something shifts. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop negotiating with fear. You understand that the present version of you is not meant to be permanent. It's meant to be a foundation. Courage doesn't destroy the present. It uses it. It takes what you've learned, what you've endured, what you've survived, and it builds forward. The future is not a place you arrive at. It's a place you earn through action, through standards, through the willingness to be uncomfortable in service of something greater. And the moment you stop living to preserve who you are today and start living to create who who you're meant to become, the future stops being something you hope for and starts becoming something you move toward with certainty, with intensity, with a level of commitment that no comfort zone could ever sustain. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal. It is a compass pointing you toward the areas of your life where growth, transformation, and meaning are waiting. Most people misunderstand fear. They think it's a warning to stop, a reason to retreat, a proof that they are not ready. But here's the truth. Fear shrinks your life when you obey it, and it expands your life when you face it. Fear is a mirror reflecting what matters most to you. And the moment you step into it, you step into the arena of possibility. We live in a world that glorifies comfort, and comfort teaches you to avoid risk, avoid challenge, and avoid the unknown. Fear loves comfort because comfort obeys it without resistance. Fear feels powerful when you let it dictate your choices, when it convinces you that staying small is the safest option. But life doesn't happen in the safe zone. Life doesn't happen in the comfortable corners of your existence. Life only begins when you confront what scares you the most. Every time you retreat from fear, you shrink. Every time you confront it, you expand. Fear is not meant to paralyze you. It's meant to provoke action. The heart races, the hands sweat, the mind protests. These are signs that you are on the edge of something significant. And most people run from those signals. They run from the tension in their chest, the nervousness in their stomach, the shaking in their hands, thinking that comfort is safety. But safety is an illusion. Fear is actually the doorway to growth. When you walk toward it, you build courage, resilience, and a sense of self you never thought possible. Think about the moments in your life when you felt alive. When did you feel truly awake? Chances are it was not when everything was easy, predictable, or comfortable. It was when you faced uncertainty, when you leaned into discomfort, when you said yes to something that scared you. Fear is the signpost of meaningful opportunity. It's the signal that you are about to stretch, that you are about to elevate, that you are about to step into a version of yourself you've never met before. Fear shrinks your life when you obey it because it trains you to settle for less. It keeps you in patterns that are safe but unfulfilling. It keeps you managing your existence rather than designing it. Every time you listen to fear, you send a message to yourself that your potential is negotiable, that your dreams are optional, that your standards are flexible. Fear becomes a tyrant, quietly convincing you that the status quo is acceptable when deep down you know it is not. But fear expands your life when you confront it because it builds identity, courage, and strength. The moment you act despite fear, you create evidence that you are capable, that you are resilient, that you can trust yourself to handle more than you imagined. Acting in the presence of fear is a declaration to yourself. I am not controlled by what scares me. I am guided by what I value. And values are stronger than fear because they define who you are and what you will tolerate in your life. Every step you take into fear rewires your nervous system, reshapes your belief systems, and builds a muscle called courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to move forward while feeling afraid. Courage is the conscious choice to act in alignment with your highest purpose, despite the discomfort, despite the uncertainty, despite the potential for failure. Courage expands your life because it transforms you from a passenger in your own story to the driver, the creator, the leader of your destiny. Look at anyone who has achieved something remarkable. Every breakthrough, every bold move, every moment of transformation was preceded by fear. Fear was present. Fear was real. Fear was undeniable. But they acted anyway. They didn't wait until the fear vanished. They didn't wait for the moment to feel safe. They leaned in. They stepped forward. They committed to action despite fear. That is the secret that most people miss. Fear is never going to disappear before you act. It is a constant companion on the road to significance. And the only way to make it a friend is to use it as fuel. Fear shrinks your life when you avoid responsibility, when you let hesitation control your choices, when you justify inaction with excuses and rationalizations. Fear thrives on doubt and indecision. It wants you to believe that staying small is safe, but staying small is a slow form of death. It is a life of regret. What ifs and untapped potential. Every time you obey fear, you rob yourself of experiences, opportunities, and relationships that could have shaped your life into something extraordinary. Fear expands your life when you choose action over avoidance, commitment over hesitation, and growth over stagnation. Every time you confront fear, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the limitations you believed about yourself. Every time you step into the unknown, you build confidence, resilience, and a sense of self that can never be taken away. You begin to see that fear is not a wall to keep you out, it is a gate to lead you in. The life you want exists beyond the boundaries of your fear. Your potential is not determined by your comfort, it is determined by your courage. Every dream, every goal, every aspiration is waiting on the other side of fear. And fear is the gatekeeper, making sure that only those willing to face it will reach what they are capable of achieving. When you stop seeing fear as the enemy and start seeing it as a guide, your relationship with challenge changes. You stop avoiding situations that stretch you. You stop playing small to feel safe. You start leaning into growth, into uncertainty, into the discomfort that precedes every meaningful transformation. Fear shrinks your life when it controls you. It expands your life when you control it. And the key is consistent action. You don't face fear once and become fearless. You face it daily in small ways and big ways. You make choices that stretch your limits, that test your resilience, that challenge your beliefs. With every step, you strengthen your courage muscle. You build a life that is expansive, full, and aligned with your deepest values. Fear is inevitable, but it is also optional. You can let it govern you, or you can let it guide you. You can let it shrink your vision, shrink your opportunities, shrink your life. Or you can step into it, use it, transform it, and let it expand you in ways you never imagined possible. Every time you face fear, every time you act despite it, every time you refuse to let it dictate your story, you grow, you rise, you expand. You become the person you were meant to be.